Thanks, Tammy, for such a kind introduction. And welcome, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. So this is a very exciting time for us at Mapp. This spring release has not only been the biggest in terms of the amount of work that's gone into it, it's also the biggest in terms of the value that we can provide to our existing customers. Many of you have heard the story that we tell about us providing faster time from insights to action. And I think this release really signifies what we mean by that. And today I'm joined by Z as well as Stefan. So both are senior product managers that were heavily involved in this functionality. Just a quick reminder for some of you that might not be familiar with the entire kind of a product set that Mapp Cloud has to offer. In fact, these are just 3 out of 4. We also have Mapp Empower, kind of our agency edition for marketing automation. But the key products that we provide for our customers is the Mapp Engage, which is the true omni-channel automation platform to send campaigns via email, mobile push, SMS. Then we have Mapp Acquire, which allows to enrich the customer profile data based on their web behavior and activate the data in paid media channels. And the latest addition to our portfolio is Mapp Intelligence. And it provides the customer insight layer, which is now kind of fully integrated into the Mapp Cloud stack. Now, this release, as I mentioned earlier, is probably by far the biggest one we have. Unfortunately, an hour is not going to quite cover every single feature that we want to show you guys. So there are some product release notes, there are some videos around the other features. Today, we're going to focus on these primary 6 features that we most recently have launched. And the first one is the intelligence-based user segments. So what we've done here is we've taken the segment data from Mapp Intelligence, where you're able to create the insights for your marketing team, and you're able to push those segments into your campaigns in Mapp Engage. And this is what we mean when we say we provide the fastest time from those aha moments, those insights moments, to clicks. So why did we do this? In many ways, we feel like we're creating a new type of marketing cloud platform. There's many platforms out there that do cross-channel campaign management and so forth. The major flaw that we find in those platforms is that analytics and insights, it's something that you typically do at the end of the campaigns, just to analyze how well those campaigns performed. And we're trying to flip this upside down. We're trying to make sure that all our customers are benefiting from the insights, marketing-friendly insights, not the insights that only analytics team can understand, but marketing-friendly insights to be able to activate them across your digital channels. And again, research suggests, as in this quote here, is that 58% of marketers say their companies base at least half of their regular business decisions based on gut feel and experience rather than data. And I think there's a lot more space to innovate in this area. So here's an example, right? So how could you apply those insights in practice in your day-to-day work? Let's say you had this example. Let's say you wanted to find customers with $2,000 lifetime value that looked at items that are out of stock, and you wanted to send them a follow-up email. So this is where we would like to raise a poll and see what you guys think and how you're currently able to address this particular scenario. So how would you currently go around this, right? So right now, when you're having to find these high-value customers that are looking at the item that's out of stock, how do you currently address this? And there's a quick poll on the screen. If you can select an option, we're going to proceed to the next slide. Stefan, which one do you think most customers will go for?
Hi, Rick. Take it with a sort of grain, but as a smart decision maker, I would ask my colleagues to do the job for me and try to find a solution. But if you ask me honestly, I'm quite sure that the majority might be unable at the moment to do this.
Okay. I think I tend to agree with you on that one. I think that there's many ways that customers currently address this, but it does involve a number of steps and probably a number of teams involved to get the data extracted before you put them into the execution platform. So typically, when it comes to approaching this problem, there's kind of this three approaches, right? So you have this opportunist approach where you may have some data available in your platform, whichever platform you're using, whether it's Engaged or something else. And then you're kind of trying to guess what might be the best criteria. So you might be missing the out of stock data, or you might be missing kind of customer lifetime value data, but you'll be using whatever data is available in your segmentation tool to rebuild that selection, to send those people this kind of product back in stock email. Or this is kind of the example that Stefan's talking about. Perhaps you have a data science team or analytics team, and maybe you're using GA360, right? So you have a team member that is kind of well versed in that product and is able to extract those insights, maybe put in a Google BigQuery for you then to pick up and execute a campaign. Again, great solution, not always accurate data, and does involve quite a few steps. And what we've done with the intelligence-based segments in Mapp Engage is now you're able to create these segments very quickly in Mapp Intelligence, and those segments immediately become available in Mapp Engage. And now Stefan is going to walk us through how this looks in Mapp.
Yeah, absolutely. So within intelligence, you have all the data from your website in the system. You know what customers and visitors have done and what activities they've done. And one way to do to send a campaign is obviously you watch the majority of the main KPIs as bounce rate or conversion rate. And in this example, you see the conversion rate is quite nice. It's at 9. It's raised by 4.4%. But with intelligence, you can have a look at more detailed KPIs. For example, the product for the product page, the out of stock has increased. The out of stock rate has increased, right? And that's obviously not a good thing. So going to the next slide, you can even dive deeper, and you see, okay, what were the products which were out of stock, which had the most potential, the most value. And you see, for example, the Sonos Place wireless system was viewed 226 times while being out of stock. So what to do about it? Obviously, you want to retain this momentum, and as soon as this product is back available in store, you want to send a message to those customers, potential customers who will have a look at this, right? So what you do is you jump to Segment Manager and you create a segment for these, selecting the viewed product was the Sonos, and it was out of stock, and you only want to address customers which were very likely to convert. So you set a threshold for the conversion probability, another feature we're offering, coming to this later, and basically also sending the RFM group, setting it to high, and having this segment and save it. You then go to Engage, that's the next screen, save the segments, right, and go to Engage, and there you build your selection. And then with the selection, you can basically select the CI segment you just created from that list, which is the Sonos one. You type in and search for Sonos, you will get this. Next slide, I guess. Yes, exactly, and add it to your selection. And what you can do now, you can even do some fine tuning and add some further criteria. For example, in another segment, which excludes all people who, in the meantime, already have bought this Sonos thing. Having this done, you can use that selection in your whiteboards and your meeting campaigns. But this was obviously only one example. There are hundreds of other examples where you can utilize these insights you get from Mapp Intelligence to create your segment, basically target individuals based on their behavior on the website, personalized messages, and you can even enrich customer profile data based on the AI. What I just gave an example with the likely to convert. Yeah, that's from my side. Going back to Rick. No, not yet. Okay, the question is what you have to do this. How can you get this cool thing? It is you have to have Mapp Engage and Mapp Intelligence. And once you purchase this combination, it will be available immediately in your system, and you can exactly perform these use cases. In order to get it, just simply contact your account manager and yeah, to get an upgrade to Mapp Intelligence.
Thanks, Stefan. So the next feature we're going to talk about is the AI marketing analyst and predefined user segments. So Stefan already gave a nod to it early in his presentation. And basically, what this is all about, oh, apologies. There we go. So what it's all about is that when you have the Mapp Intelligence deployed, we're able to start predicting what customers are going to do next. So for example, our customer is going to convert in next 30 days. If they're going to convert next 30 days, how much are they likely to spend? And we're not talking about low value, medium value, kind of high value like other vendors have. We're talking about predicting the exact amount, how much we think the customer is going to spend based on their on-site interaction and how does their interaction compare to other customers. Also beyond that, we provide the churn models as well. So we can start predicting how likely is customer to churn. If you've seen our previous webinars, we talk a lot about moving away from averages and stopping doing marketing based on averages. For example, things like average churn rate. In many cases, some of our customers I've seen in the past, they would do kind of their churn campaigns based on someone that hasn't engaged for the last 6 months. You know, they'll be assumed to be churning. But when it comes to churn, everyone has individual shopping habits, right? Some people might be buying every 2 weeks, other people might be buying every 7 months, and that's perfectly fine for them. So what our churn models does, it predicts each individual customer's preferences for shopping habits, and we score every single customer individually. So not only we produce these insightful dashboards in Mapp Intelligence that will show you the churn rates, but also we can then use this data to activate across other channels. So here's another kind of quote that we like to use, and again, there'll be a quick poll straight after this. So, you know, there's many examples of this online. You know, in this example, it says that it costs 5 to 10 times more to acquire new customers than retain the existing ones. The statistic seems to vary depending on who you ask and which vertical we speak to, but one thing is for certain. It does cost more to acquire new customers than retaining existing ones. And this is exactly what we're trying to do and to address with the AI-based segments in Mapp Cloud. So here's another quick poll, only 4 options to choose from. So how do you currently predict customer churn and spend in your business? So whether you don't know, or you have an in-house data science team, or you're using another platform to do it for you. Okay, thank you for your responses. And next, back over to you, Stefan.
Exactly. Thanks. So AI marketing analyst, predefined segments. Rick was already talking about that we offering the predictions as churn probability, conversion probability, the next order value, and the 4th one is the predicted customer lifetime value. So basically, the predicted customer lifetime value is like the predicted revenue the customer or the user is expected to spend in the next 12 months. We're also offering like predefined user segments with these predictions, what makes it even easier for you to utilize them in the selection builder. Basically, the use case I've shown before was already included one of these predefined segments. For each of these segments, there are each of these predictions, there are 3 segments available. One with high, one with medium, one for low probability. And these predictions, these segments are set up based on your actual business model. So because depending on the business model, the values are different. So taking this to account, it's a very specialized calculation for the segment definition. How you get this? The predictions, the segments are available as an add-on package. You need to have Mapp Intelligence, and as an add-on, there's the AI package available. And in order to run this properly, you need at least 2 months of data, depending on your business model. And of course, also it is very helpful and needed and mandatory, so to speak, that you sign the data processing agreement to do this. Yeah. The setup then itself is done by Mapp, so you don't have to take care of anything. You will really, the segments will appear as soon as the calculation are ready. You can directly utilize them, and you will find them in the list of predefined segments.
Excellent.
Back to you.
Thanks, Stefan. So the next functionality we're going to cover is the one of the integrations that we build. So we realized that in order for us to be providing faster time from insights to action, will be very much limited by the amount of data that's available to us. And some of you may already know that we've deployed some out-of-the-box integrations with the likes of Magento and some other platforms earlier this year. And we're also going to cover another integration, which is Salesforce connector. But we realized that we need to accelerate the kind of integration efforts. And the first thing we built is the Zapier integration. For those of you who don't know what Zapier is, Zapier effectively is the middle layer that allows us to connect to pretty much any app that is out there. So currently there's over 2,000 apps that Zapier connects to, whether that's doing the lead gen ad forms, or its integration to Slack or Zoho CRM or Shopify or WooCommerce or Facebook leads, whatever it might be that you're trying to do, or maybe in Typeform forms. So if you're trying to get data into Mapp Engage, it's never been easier, than using the Zapier adapter. And again, a quick poll here, whether you're using Zapier or not. A very simple question. I don't think I'll hold it there for too long. Okay, thank you. So some of the quotes that I think signifies the reason for us to focus more integrations is, I think Forrester said it the best. So they've done a study, a customer reference study last year, and they recognize that 63% of firms have more than 5 marketing vendors. And also 42% of companies have more than 10 marketing applications. And I think it's not too uncommon in most of our existing Mapp customers. So we're always looking for new integrations, and we have a bunch of additional ones that we're currently working on. And we think that Zapier will plug the gap very nicely in the short term. But if there's any other major integrations you want us to focus on, do let us know. So here's some of the examples of what you could be doing with the Zapier integration. So again, let's say if you are using Shopify, every time there's a new customer added in Shopify, you can push them directly into new customer group in Mapp Engage. Or if there's a new order in Shopify, you can store those orders in a Mapp transaction table. So again, some of you might not be aware of these Mapp transaction tables. It's basically, earlier this year, we've enhanced our related data structure to accommodate some of the more standard data schemas that customers are using. So things like wish lists and also things like transactions. So Shopify can kind of pre-populate those transaction tables to make it easier for you to do selections and also personalized messages based on those transactions in those tables. And also we can automatically send the transaction message at the same time. Or another example is, perhaps you submitted a survey on Typeform. And again, those survey responses, perhaps someone where they opted into a newsletter from the form, we can also push them into new newsletter subscribers group as well. Or if you're a B2B business, or perhaps the same could be applied for Facebook. If you're in B2C, we can use the lead gen forms for both LinkedIn or Facebook that are submitted to those platforms. And again, those submissions can be fed directly into the Mapp Engage group, and we can automatically send the follow-up email to those customers. Again, in B2B example, it could be a white paper. In B2C example, it could be a coupon or whatever it is that you want it to be. Z, do you want to tell us how this works?
Thanks, Rick. Hi, everyone. Z from Product at Mapp here. Let's dive in, right? So looking at the slide currently, this is how it looks like in Zapier, and it cannot get simpler. First, you define the event as shown here on this slide, and then the action to be performed as shown on the next slide. In this case, when there's a new order processed successfully in Shopify, we want to store the transaction details in Mapp Engage. And as Rick mentioned, for marketers looking to integrate with Facebook for lead generation needs, but without the hassle, Zapier and Mapp Engage can solve this for you. And we can move on to the next slide. If you are interested in this, please ensure you get in touch with your Mapp customer representative or any Mapp sales rep to have a conversation about the setups and prerequisites. As you can see, you need Mapp Connect enabled on your Mapp Engage instance. You need to have a clear integration use case. The Zapier account has to be created. And for some integrations that Zapier supports, it may require a premium Zapier account. And in terms of the setup itself, when you're having the conversation with anyone at Mapp, please make sure that you have the Mapp Connect add-on added to your Zapier account as well. That's it. We can move on.
Perfect. Thanks, Z.
No problem.
So the next capability is also an additional integration that I mentioned earlier, and that is the Salesforce CRM integration. So it might not be appropriate for or relevant for everyone, but I think for those customers, particularly working in B2B space, that might be very, very interesting. And effectively, what we've done here is we've simplified the way you currently integrate into Salesforce CRM, and it's a two-way integration. So again, in Mapp Connect, you're able to configure your the fields that you would like to map between Engage and Salesforce, and off you go. And again, Z is going to walk you through some of those examples of integrations. Oh, in fact, before that, here's another poll. Thanks, Tammy. Again, a very simple question. Do you use Salesforce CRM? And I think we can move on. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rick. Yeah, as Rick just said, staying on the same topic of connectivity, we all know how valuable Salesforce is. For us, it was a no-brainer to move ahead with creating an official Salesforce CRM connector. And with this new connector, after a one-time setup, the marketer will have no need to actually sync CRM contacts into Engage. Next slide, please. Or manually upload contacts from Engage to Salesforce, or also they won't need to go to Engage to create their campaign. Yes, that's right. You can select the Mapp Engage campaign type from within your Salesforce CRM user interface as shown here. Next slide, please. Again, a few checks, very similar to the Zapier one, to bear in mind before getting in touch with your Mapp customer representative if you are interested in this add-on. And with that, I'll hand it back to you now, Rick.
Excellent. Thanks, Z. So the next one is, again, a really kind of interesting addition to one of our channels. So mobile push and in-app is something that we've been offering for a while now. And most recently, we also added the mobile rate
Hi, everybody. Please stand by. It appears we're still having glitches. Rick's coming right back. Stand by.
Hello again. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we
Great.
gotcha. Thanks,
That's
everyone, for hanging in there.
that's the beauty of working from home, eh? Okay, apologies to this, guys. I'm going to continue. So I'm not sure where I lost you, but I'm just going to crack on to the next slide. Okay, so a time for a quick poll. Do you currently have a mobile app? Again, very simple answers: yes, no, but will soon, no, and we have no plans to have one. Okay, thank you for your responses. So why rich push is so important in marketing? Well, if you add emojis, you can get up to 20% increase in engagement rates. If you tailor the send time for individuals, you get 40%. And if you use advanced targeting, it's three times the increase of engagement. And with rich push, you get an extra 25%. So again, perhaps rich push won't give you as much of an uplift as advanced targeting or tailored send time. However, the best practice is that you have to do all those things in combination to get the best results. And right now with Mapp, you can do all of those things. We can help you advanced targeting, kind of tailored send time, rich push, and emojis. Z, do you want to tell us more about it?
Yes, Rick. Thanks a lot. So, as Rick just mentioned, this solution improves our offering generally by giving the marketer the flexibility to use rich media such as images, audio, videos, the GIFs, action buttons, as demonstrated here, and using basically rich media in mobile push notifications is definitely a way better solution than SMS. And building that rich mobile push notification within Mapp Engage has never been easier with a superbly intuitive user interface, as you can see on this slide. So next slide, please, Rick. And again, if you are interested in this, please ensure that when you're talking to your Mapp customer representative, that you have the correct SDK for your app and the correct setup by working with our team. And Rick will now continue with best send out time.
Excellent. Thanks, Z. So best send out time, again, many of you are familiar with the concept. As you can see here in this kind of animation on the left-hand side, the main principle behind it is that you want to be at the top of the inbox when your recipients are most likely to read their emails. Because, for example, in my case, when I open my emails at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, I do get a lot of marketing emails. I probably subscribe to way more stuff than usual consumer, but nevertheless, there's quite a few things that end up on a second page. And the chances are, whilst on Google, people still might click on a second page. In my email, if you're on my second page, I'm never going to read that email ever again, right? So the main idea here is that when the customers are engaging with the email, you want to be as near as possible to the top. When building this AI model for best send out time, we actually discovered something really interesting. We assumed it's going to be one simple AI model to predict the best time, but then very quickly we realized that the way people actually interact with the inboxes really varies. And you can almost cluster people in those three different buckets. So number one is where their open time is very much dependent on when the email is sent. So if you have your current regular send schedules, those people will not be affected because they'll be opening the email anyway. Also, there are certain type of people that open at regular intervals. So there always seems to be opening an email between 9 to 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, or on Wednesday between 3 to 5 p.m. and so forth, right? So again, there's a whole different model for that. And then there's some individuals that just seem to be opening emails at the most random intervals, whether it's 2 a.m., 9 p.m., and so forth, right? So it's not very easy to simply apply one model. And what we do is we basically try to identify what kind of person that is, what's the regular engagement patterns, and then we decide what is the most active time of the day for those individuals. And this is when we send those emails. Again, a quick poll. So how do you currently pick the best time to send your messages? Do you use a predefined schedule? Again, maybe every Tuesday, 10 a.m. or every Thursday, 10 a.m. Maybe you've done some A/B tests in the past and you're relying on those results, or maybe you have a whole different way of doing this. Again, pick one of the options. And I think we can go to the next one. Thanks, Tammy. So why you should be doing this in the first place? Well, you can be spending a lot of time trying to A/B test the best send out time. But again, as we said at the beginning, we're trying to speed up the time from insights to action for our customers. And I think something as simple as this is way better done by an AI model rather than you kind of having to spend time doing those A/B tests. And in some cases, we noticed an increase of up to 15% in customer engagement when they are using the AI best time to send capability. And again, Z is going to tell us more about it.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, best send out time, AI and everything. Those are the buzzwords flying around, and we are happy to be onboarding that train as well. And as you can see now, the best send out time is available for any type of send out in Mapp Engage, both within the whiteboard or when you are doing an ad hoc message send out using the classic methods of message composition, either uploading your HTML up or drag and dropping content blocks that you have prepared previously in the content builder. If you are then interested in this exciting solution, I would advise you to note a few things when having that conversation with your Mapp customer representative. There is a need to sign a data processing agreement. And for this to work, at least 5 messages have to have been sent and opened by whichever contact that you are sending this to. In terms of the setup, it is quite straightforward. Just get in touch with your Mapp customer representative. Back to you, Rick.
Excellent. Thanks, Z. So I know you all were upset about not seeing those videos at the beginning. So in the handout that is uploaded next to chat section, if you download that PDF, there are some additional links. So if you go to the product pages page, you'll see the demo videos of how each of those capabilities look like. Also, in addition to this, we've also documented this in the release notes. So if you go to docs.mapp.com/display/rn, very easy to remember URL. Thanks, product team. You can find the release notes over there. And this also covers the other functionality that we have not discussed today either. So do tag this page, favorite it, and make sure you always stay up to date with the latest releases. Also, we are offering free online training for any existing or new Mapp customers or partners. So if you feel like there's a particular area of the product that we've shown today that you would like additional training in, perhaps in the new features, do go on this page and you can sign up for a free webinar, for a free workshop, where you'll find out more on how to use those capabilities. And also there's a bunch of additional enhancements that we haven't even covered yet at length. So again, I'm going to hand you over to Z quickly to whiz through them.
Perfect. I'm going to try to be fast about those, but they are quite interesting, to be honest. So this first enhancement is actually for Mapp Empower. Most of our customers who use Mapp Empower are agencies, and they use Empower for their sending needs for all of the third-party customers, basically. And we have now made it way easier for these users to verify their campaign performance on the fly by using the new message statistics API for Empower. So that's the first one. Then we move now to custom email security settings. And with this enhancement, Mapp Engage customers who have the need to send particular emails with sensitive data can configure these specific mailings to be sent compliantly with the required security measures without hurting their maximum reach. For example, a financial customer can have both traditional marketing campaigns and also send bank statements. And for the marketing emails, you of course want to send your mailing out to the maximum amount of people to maximize conversion. Therefore, you use a less strict protocol like opportunistic TLS. Or then you also have the possibility for the campaigns with the sensitive data. The customer needs to observe specific compliance requirements, where he requires to use protocols like forced TLS or a higher version of TLS, which is more secure, and a set of ciphers. And last but not the least, at least for my section here, in terms of real-time reactions to new orders, we have not forgotten about our acquire customers. Mapp Cloud is used by customers in a combination with other apps like online shops, for example. The data and events produced in those web shops could also be used in Mapp Engage to trigger some actions or to use it for the better contact targeting within selections. These marketers can now easily and natively leverage two new event types in Acquire, new transaction, add or remove abandoned cart items or those events. And that means there's no need for any custom code, and you can also store all the transactions that you need in Mapp Engage in a standardized table. And now I will let Stefan narrate the value of the remaining four.
Yeah, thank you, Dee. So the next one is a pure feature for Mapp Intelligence, and whoever already was using an analytics platform knows that there's a ton of information coming up with in different dimensions and metrics. And also you might have to ask yourself like how you can restrict this to make it more workable for the users, to narrow down the huge amount of dimensions and metrics which are available, and how to increase or how to be more compliant with your security regulations, because not every user should probably be able to see every data. So the user management in Mapp Intelligence is role-based, and we extended this role configuration so that you are able to define per user role what dimensions and metrics, meaning what data a user can use. And everything what is disabled for the user will be excluded from the analysis he is running. The next one is in terms of data collection. Normally, the tracking is relying on the browser, on the user's browser. So there's a JavaScript running, which sends a track request of what the information, what the user is doing to Mapp Intelligence. But for example, in terms of tracking blocker, the track request obviously cannot be sent. So your data quality is not as good as it could be. So what we're offering here is that you are able to track directly from the server who's hosting the website to Mapp Intelligence. And this is supported for PHP at the moment, and we're working on a Java integration as well. Obviously, it is not only beneficial to use server-side tracking, because the downside of it is you cannot track everything what is purely done on the browser. So for example, form fields, when the user is filling out a form field but not sending it, basically the server doesn't know this, so this cannot be tracked. But for that purpose, a combination of server-side tracking and browser tracking is possible. The next one is for the Google Tag Manager template. So in case you are already using Google Tag Manager, which is the most popular tag managing system out there, there's a template for Mapp Intelligence available. You can download it from the support center. You can then upload it to the Google Tag Manager, and then you can utilize all the information you already have on your website and currently sending to Google Analytics, and to send this to Mapp Intelligence. Basically, the integration of Mapp Intelligence is quite easy with that one when you have Google Tag Manager already in place. In case you're using WordPress or WooCommerce and the WooCommerce add-on for e-commerce websites, there's there's also a plugin available. So you can simply activate it in WordPress and then do the configuration in the Mapp tag management to get a cool onboarding of your WordPress installation. We also provide predefined dashboards in Mapp Intelligence, and all the information you need to show these dashboards are covered by the WordPress plugin. So that's from my side. I think, Rick, we do have a last poll. Handing back to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Z. Thanks, Stefan. So yes, so we're going to keep the last poll open. These are open-ended questions to help us with kind of with the roadmap going forward. So what kind of features you wish we had, what kind of integration wish we had. But for now, we're going to keep it open, but we're also going to open up for questions. And Tammy, let's see if we have any questions in chat so far.
Sure, yeah. So we've got a few coming in. And just audience, please keep in mind that as you log out of the webinar, these questions will come up and you will be able to submit your answers. So, all right, let's go to the first question. It says, how are you able to get past the cookie tracking issue? Usually the data is wiped after some time.
Stefan, do you want to take it?
I'm looking for the question. I didn't get it properly. Could you repeat the question, please?
Oh, sure. Yes. Sorry about that. It's how do you get past the cookie tracking issue or cookie tracking limits? Usually the data is wiped after some time.
Yeah, absolutely. So that refers to third-party cookies. What we do is we're offering to use first-party cookies only, and our customers also have to use a custom track domain. So the track domain in which the first-party cookie is set is also a subdomain of your website. So there's no issue on that.
Great, thanks, Stefan. Okay, so next question is regarding the rich push. It says they're excited to see it, but asking, does it cost more to send than the normal mobile push? And does it still work in the whiteboard? And then maybe if somebody wants to kind of do a short description of the whiteboard, that'd be helpful too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. Thank you. So rich push doesn't cost anything extra. So as long as you're on the contract that is kind of covering all the, I believe we used to call it kind of a multi-touch point contract, or you're on the new database size pricing contract, basically the push volume covers basically your current allowance for email sends also cover push, regardless whether it's an in-app push or rich push. So that is covered. There might be a small service fee to help you configure the SDK on your apps if you haven't done so yet. When it comes to whiteboard, yes, just like all the other channels that we have, so the in-app, mobile push, SMS, and email, they all could be intertwined on a single whiteboard. And automation whiteboard is basically where you would orchestrate this kind of a cross-channel or cross-touchpoint campaign, where if something happened, so if let's say a customer abandoned a basket or abandoned a browse, you can decide how much time you want to wait before you trigger the next communication, and you can choose whether it's going to be an email or mobile push or an in-app message. So yeah, so all those things are covered.
Okay, great. We've got quite a few questions coming in. The next one is, how long do I have to wait, or how long do I have to wait to have enough insights for intelligence to be effective?
Yeah, basically, as soon as you have the implementation done, the data will be available in intelligence. How long you have to wait depends on the use case. For example, to have a proper predictions running, you need at least two months of data. But in order to see what is going on your website, how your purchases are going, how your bounce rate is, this is effectively immediately.
Okay, great, thank you. Here's another one. It says, how many customers or visits, I'm guessing website visits, do we need to make full potential for the Mapp universe?
I think it's a really good question, and it does kind of I guess it will vary on the use case. So we also have a number of B2B customers that obviously don't have as high volumes as B2C. The advantage with kind of Mapp Intelligence is that we pretty much track any customer behavior. So whilst they're anonymous and when they're known, we're able to match them to an email address, right? So even if you have a handful of customers, but they're very, very high value customers, we still can capture their data. Because I think regardless what business you're in, if you have a small number of customers, that only means that, they're probably more kind of high value kind of or luxury, or it's a B2B. So we can still capture data, and we can still do those intelligent campaigns, and we can still provide the analytics around funnel, where customers are in the buying funnel and so forth. So I think, if you would like to discuss this in more detail, do feel free reaching out, and we can discuss your specific requirements in more detail.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, this is from the same attendee. It's kind of a follow-up, I think. If he's asking if we have multiple web shops / clients, would it make sense to connect them to the same Mapp account?
So it sounds like it's a question from an agency. So for customers that have multiple brands, and we have a number of those, we are able to create multiple views. So the local kind of, or let's say individual brands, or maybe even local shops, can have their own views into their data, and then the global team or central team can have an overarching access to see how all the shops are performing, or multiple brands are performing. Because because the question sounds like it's coming from an agency, it probably wouldn't be the best idea of doing this, because the value does come from matching and identifying customer behavior. So the biggest value Mapp Intelligence provides is that we're not only providing these kind of a beautiful dashboards you can get insights from, is the fact that we can actually activate those insights into a campaign. And obviously, when you start matching data across multiple customers, that's just a massive GDPR nightmare and privacy nightmare, right? So it's probably not somewhere where you want to be going. The best approach would be to have probably a platform per customer.
Great. This question is of great interest to me too. Is it correct that for your Salesforce connection, it's a two-way data share?
That's correct. Yes. So as per kind of Z's use cases, we can synchronize the audiences from Salesforce. So anyone new added, so you can configure the rules when to pass this data into Mapp. Also, let's say you're using maybe some sort of forms where you're capturing newsletter subscribers, and that form is managed by Mapp. So typically what you would have to do is do a data export and then load it back into CRM, maybe even before you send a welcome email, which could cause some delays. Whereas now you can basically dedicate a group and say any new member or any new subscriber added to this group, automatically push them into a kind of into a particular place in Salesforce, whether it's a lead or whether it's existing customer. So they'll be automatically synchronized. And the other use case is that you can actually create a campaign. So there's a new campaign type in Salesforce that's basically Mapp Engage. So you can create a campaign in Salesforce, push leads into that campaign, and that campaign will appear as a new group in Mapp Engage that you can send an email to.
I think that's very exciting, actually. This is a really interesting question too. Could rich push be used in conjunction with a location trigger, i.e. sending a map of a building or terminal when near the premises?
That's a great use case. Absolutely. We probably should do some more videos around that. So yes, so we're also launching a kind of a geolocation. So you can create multiple locations that are of interest to you, whether that's kind of creating zones around your high street stores, or perhaps around your competitor stores, if you want to be that aggressive. And you can trigger these push notifications. So it doesn't matter whether it's rich push. In fact, it could be kind of other channels as well. It could be push, it could be rich push. Yeah.
Okay, cool. If we choose to use best send out time, is the message going to be within 24 hours or within the current day? Example, April 8th. How to exploit it if there are deadline promo involved?
Oh, Z, do you want to take that one?
Yes, sorry, can you repeat the question, please? It broke off.
Oh, yeah, sure. It says, if we choose to use best send out time, is the message going to be within 24 hours or within the current day? Example, today, April 8th. And then the follow-up to that, the follow-up is how to exploit if there are deadlines involved.
Okay, I can respond to the first one. It's indeed the 24 to 48, sorry, 24 hours as we have. So there's half-hour intervals. So we have 48 possible slots, and that's the answer to the first question. But the second question, I didn't understand that clearly. Actually, what
Yeah, maybe we can follow up with you to answer that question a little bit more effectively.
Yeah.
And later on after the webinar, we have all the information about the questions you've asked. So, okay, thanks, Z. The next one is, will the Salesforce connector be free?
Yeah, I can take that one. So yes, so for now the Salesforce connector will be free. We do want to encourage our customers to kind of explore as many integrations as possible. So yes, so for the time being, it's going to be free. We will have to review this in the future, but obviously, if you get the connector now, you won't have to pay for it going forward.
Okay, one more question. It says, does best send out time work for all channels or just email? I would love to know when it's best to send what message at what time. I don't currently use Mapp, and my platform does this for email only.
Yeah, I can take that one. As far as I know, it works right now only for email, but we are looking to expand this to other channels, definitely.
Okay, one more question snuck in, and I think it's a really good one too. If there is no data for the intelligent send out time available, will it send the mail directly, or will it try to use other data for the intelligent send out?
Very good question, actually. This is going a little bit very technical into the algorithm itself, so I'm going to try and answer that as clearly as I can. In terms of if you don't have enough data during the start, so that's called the cold start problem. There will not be any predictions in that sense due to the configuration constraints listed above. So we will send this at the right time for that client based on what we know about him, or that's it. So as accurately as possible based on, even if he has like free events or free events in the backend, but that wouldn't be best send out time. Then it would be less accurate, and that's why it needs to mature over a certain amount of time and data it needs to have in order to work properly. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, thanks, Z.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that does it for today's session. I really appreciate everybody's patience hanging in there through the issues we were having in our challenges working from home. And also, please stand by for the survey questions for your input. We would really love to hear your input about how you can really affect our roadmap. And also, gentlemen, thank you, especially Stefan. I apologize for leaving you out in the beginning of the webinar, so please forgive me there. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their day.
Thank you.